The Navajo Nation, a land of towering mesas and whispering winds. This vast expanse of desert holds secrets and stories that have been passed down through generations. Ancient stories clung to the canyons, tales of spirits and skinwalkers. Malevolent witches who could transform into animals, these legends are etched into the very rocks, whispering their secrets to those who listen.
Skinwalkers? Really? Just old folklore, nothing more? Stories to scare children, nothing to be taken seriously?
Lena, a young Navajo woman, always dismissed these stories as folklore. She believed in the tangible, the real, and the modern world she grew up in. Her modern upbringing clashed with her ancestors' beliefs. The old ways seemed distant, almost irrelevant to her daily life. To her, the Skinwalker was a myth, a figment of imagination. She walked the desert with confidence, unafraid of the stories that haunted her elders.
Lena, the elders are worried. There's been talk of a malevolent presence near the mesa. Strange things have been happening.
It's true, Lena. A darkness that chills our bones. Please don't venture out at night. The spirits are restless.
One evening the elders gathered, their faces etched with worry. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices filled with fear and concern. They spoke of a malevolent presence near the mesa, a darkness that seemed to grow with each passing night, a darkness that chilled their bones. The air itself seemed to carry a sense of dread, a warning to those who dared to ignore it. They warned Lena against venturing out at night. The desert, they said, was no longer safe after dark. The spirits were watching.
Skinwalkers? Ridiculous. I won't be bound by ancient superstitions.
Lena scoffed at their warnings. Her thirst for adventure, for proving the elders wrong, burned bright. That night, stars glittered coldly above the desert. Ignoring the elders' pleas and the prickling fear at the back of her neck, Lena set out towards the mesa. The wind moaned, a lonely sound that echoed her own beating heart.
I can do this. There's nothing out here but shadows and wind.
The air grew colder as she neared the mesa. The shadows seemed to twist and writhe, taking on monstrous shapes in her mind. Lena shook her head, trying to dispel the growing unease. She wouldn't turn back, not now. She began to climb, the path treacherous in the darkness. Each step was a struggle, the uneven terrain making her footing uncertain. The night was thick, almost tangible, wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. Each gust of wind sounded like a whispered threat. The trees seemed to whisper secrets, their leaves rustling ominously. She felt as if the forest itself was alive, watching her every move. The hair on her arms stood on end. Her flashlight flickered, casting grotesque shadows that danced to a silent rhythm. The shadows seemed to mock her, their shapes twisting into nightmarish forms.
What was that? Just the wind. Right! Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing in her ears. She tried to convince herself it was nothing, but doubt gnawed at her.
Then she heard it, a low growl, guttural and chilling, echoing from the heart of the mesa. It was a sound that spoke of ancient primal fears. Panic seized her. The elders' warnings came back to haunt her, their words heavy with dread. They had spoken of the creature that roamed these lands, a beast of legend and terror.
No, this can't be happening. I need to get out of here. Her mind raced, searching for an escape. She couldn't let the fear paralyze her.
She stumbled back, her foot slipping on loose rock. The ground seemed to conspire against her, each step more precarious than the last. The growl grew louder, closer. It was no longer a distant threat, but an imminent danger. A dark shape, large and powerful, detached itself from the shadows ahead. It moved with a predatory grace, each step deliberate and menacing. It was moving towards her, its eyes burning with unholy fire. The creature's gaze pierced through the darkness, locking onto her with a malevolent intensity.
Ah, no, please don't come any closer.
Alina screamed, scrambling back in terror, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She could feel the cold sweat trickling down her back. The creature stalked closer, its form shifting, contorting, part wolf, part man, all nightmare. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent light. The Skinwalker, it was real. The stories, the warnings, they all came flooding back to her.
My flashlight, where is it? I can't see anything.
Her flashlight fell, plunging them into darkness. The only light now was the eerie glow from the creature's eyes. She scrambled back blindly, her heart pounding against her ribs. Every step felt like a struggle against the suffocating darkness. The stench of decay, of something ancient and evil, filled the air. It was a smell that clung to her, making her gag.
Lena, here, take my hand, hurry.
A hand grabbed hers, pulling her away from the edge of the cliff. She felt a surge of relief mixed with fear. Nadi, her grandfather, his face grim in the moonlight. His eyes were filled with a mix of anger and concern. He had followed her, sensing her defiance. He knew the dangers that lurked in these woods. Together they fled, the Skinwalker's enraged howl echoing behind them. The forest seemed to close in, every shadow a potential threat.
It's real. The Skinwalker is real. I saw it with my own eyes.
Lena didn't need convincing anymore. She had looked into the eyes of evil and lived to tell the tale. The fear was etched into her soul. The Skinwalker was real, a terrifying truth that would forever haunt her dreams. The night had changed her, and there was no going back.